Fortnite is about life after the storm, an apocalyptic event in which 98% of the world's population simply vanished, only to be replaced by hordes of zombie-like husks. After stumbling onto and taking command of an abandoned high-tech shelter facility, it's up to you to take charge of a group of brave heroes as they fight back against the storm. Under your guidance, these heroes will gather precious resources, rescue survivors, and build a refuge from the lumbering armies of the undead. Along the way, you might just discover the source of the storm and save all humanity in the process. Game details: platforms, Mac, PlayStation 4, Windows, Xbox One, price $59.99, pricing structure paid, available online, developer Epic Games, release date July 18, 2017, genre action and adventure, topics adventures, misfits and underdogs, monsters, ghosts, and vampires. ESRB rating T for violence. What parents need to know. Parents need to know that Fortnite is a survival action game for PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Windows, and Mac. Players use strategic thinking, creativity, and forward planning to build fortifications while working with teammates to defend survivors and objectives from waves of enemy monsters. The game has a cartoonish style, and the violence, while persistent, isn't bloody or particularly gory. The game does push players to make additional in-game purchases, though they're not required to play the game. Finally, while the game doesn't feature any profanity, its online nature could expose younger players to offensive language from random strangers in voice or on-screen text chat. Is it any good? This title carefully mixes some of the best parts of sandbox building games together with the fast-paced action of a third-person shooter. Mixing game genres is like working with unstable compounds. Take some from column A, add a little from column B, and then blend it together and hope the whole thing doesn't blow up in your face. The end result is a new and yet familiar experience that works exceptionally well, except for when it doesn't. 1 minute. The game is firing on all cylinders and is an addictive dose of action and strategy that's hard to put down. But then, the next minute, you find yourself buried in a myriad of confusing menus, awkward inventory management, and a lack of direction that leaves you scratching your head. Let's get one thing straight right off the bat: the actual matches in Fortnite are easily some of the most entertaining bits of gaming in recent memory. Running around the map, collecting resources, and building structures on the fly before whipping out an assault rifle to take out a group of zombies seems like it would be a complex process, but it actually feels like second nature. On top of that, the game's presentation strikes a perfect balance of fun and creepy, with a light-hearted humor that's as much fun to watch as it is to play. The only real problem comes during those moments between the action, when you have to deal with maintaining your characters, inventory, and so on. There's nothing about this part that feels intuitive, and the game does a poor job of explaining it. Eventually, through trial and error, you can fumble your way around until you learn the ins and outs, but it's still a frustrating headache. Fortunately, it's just one snag and it doesn't affect the core gameplay too much. Before long, you'll be back in the thick of things, building, shooting, and having a blast with friends, fighting the storm and saving the world with a smile. Talk to your kids about. Families can talk about crisis management. What are some good ways to prepare for disasters, and how important is it to have an emergency plan in place? Talk about teamwork. What are some positive ways to foster sportsmanship and teamwork in games? What are some ways to deal with toxic players in an online environment?